So, you have a fire, and thanks to your working smoke alarm, you're quickly up, outside, and away from danger. However, because your family didn't have a home fire escape plan, not all family members have been accounted for. In the time it took for the first flame to ignite in your home, to the smoke reaching your smoke alarm, the fire and resulting smoke, heat, and poisonous gases have already expanded in size to now involve 25% of the residents. A neighbor has called 911 to summon the fire department. However, during that time, the fire and smoke, heat, and poisonous gases have increased to the point now that more than 25% of the home is involved in fire. This means a fully developed structure fire, according to this, the fire growth curve. This shows the progression of a fire over time from when it starts to when it's fully developed to when it decays. What you'll see now are the resources and steps required from firefighters with the Greater Sudbury Fire Services to successfully perform interior suppression and rescue efforts on a residential, under 2,000 square foot structure in alignment with fire services best practice, occupational health and safety requirements, the Ministry of Labour Section 21 guidelines, and the Office of the Ontario Fire Marshal. At minimum, 16 firefighters are required to make safe entry. Once 911 has been notified, your emergency will be dispatched to the closest fire stations. Initially, 3 units will respond, with a request for a 4th unit to respond as rapidly as possible. Each unit will have up to 4 firefighters on each truck. As each unit arrives, each firefighter will be assigned a critical fire ground task, as outlined by fire service best practice and as required by legislation. The first officer on the scene is the incident commander, who is in charge of the situation and will perform a quick external walk-around to best determine a plan of attack. The apparatus driver will be the pump operator, staying behind the truck and in control of the water supply. The next 2 firefighters are on hose line duty, preparing to make entry upon the arrival of additional resources. While the work of these 4 firefighters establishes initial operations, there is only so much they can do, as they await the arrival of additional resources as required depending on the size and severity of the fire. In this case, the fire continues to grow. As the fire continues to grow in severity, 2 more fire trucks arrive with a total of 8 more firefighters. 1 firefighter will serve as an accountability officer for purpose of firefighter safety, keeping track of who is on the scene and where they are and what they're doing. 2 members from 1 unit will serve as part of the Rapid Intervention Team, standing by outside for fellow firefighters that may need support or rescue. The final firefighter from this 2nd truck acts as the 2nd tools and pump operator. From the 3rd truck, 2 firefighters will prepare to make entry with an additional hose line to search the residence for possible occupants. The final 2 firefighters perform the role of ladders and ventilation. They'll ladder the home and prepare to ventilate heat out of the roof. These 3 teams have slowed the fire down and searched for occupants, but the fire is still not under control. 1 more unit arrives. From this unit, 2 firefighters will serve as a safety hose line for the interior crews. The remaining 2 firefighters will complete the Rapid Intervention Team, as per regulations. With 16 firefighters on the scene, the house has safely been entered and the fire successfully controlled. This has been a successful interior suppression and rescue effort on a residential under 2,000 square foot structure in alignment with fire services best practice, occupational health and safety requirements, the Ministry of Labour Section 21 guidelines, and Office of the Ontario Fire Marshal. Now, let's take a look at the response required from our firefighters in the event of a fire at a larger structure, like a strip mall with a grocery store, liquor store, and several other local businesses. The first 4 trucks arrive on the scene with the initial 16 firefighters, just like our first scenario, as we still require that number before safe entry. Without this number, the fire may continue to grow and could spread to other businesses and areas of the mall. More units are required, and a 5th truck comes with a ventilation team and a 3rd attack line. The 6th truck allows for 2 more firefighters to join the Rapid Intervention Team. An entry control officer is part of this unit, and they can be closer to the hot zone while supervising who is entering and exiting the mall. The last firefighter from this unit controls utilities, such as gas or hydro. Due to the size of the mall, the firefighting units may run into a water supply issue as well, needing to rely on multiple hydrants or a distant hydrant with better flow. As the remaining trucks arrive, they bring 2 firefighters for additional laddering, another 2 on ventilation, 4 more for exposure protection, 2 additional members on the Rapid Intervention Team, 4 firefighters on search and rescue, 1 rehab officer who will work with the accountability officer, and the entry control officer to help process firefighting crews through the plaza as they enter and exit. 4 firefighters dedicated to salvage, who will remove contents from the surrounding businesses that the fire hasn't reached yet, and a scribe to document all significant events for the incident commander, entry control officer, and the safety officer. Finally, with 44 firefighters on scene, this scenario has the resources required to be successfully managed, and then the fire put out. Whether it be a residential home or a strip mall, the resources required in manpower and equipment is much more than the initial unit of career or volunteer firefighters have at their disposal. At minimum, 16 firefighters are required for an interior attack, depending on the size of the fire, and as shown, the number can grow rapidly based on the structure and the risk to the community. Proper resources help ensure that the Greater Sudbury Fire Services upholds its mission to save lives, prevent injuries, and minimize property damage in a fire emergency.